My name is Bernard Hund, and I'll be representing Longmont High School in dramatic interpretation. Judge ready? Audience. Before I begin, I would like to remind you that this case is not a difficult one. It requires no minute sifting of complicated facts, but it does instead rely upon you being sure, beyond all reasonable doubt, as to the guilt of the defendant. To begin, this case should have never come to trial, because this case is as simple as black and white. We find ourselves in the midst of a modern civil rights movement. With widespread access to technology, we are able to bring to light the injustices done to people of color. And with that information, we can build a better future. But in order to build that future, we must continue to understand our past. A past where people of color were charged and sentenced to crimes with little to no evidence against them. This piece takes place in a Jim Crow era Mississippi. It is up to Atticus Finch to defend his client Tom Robinson against the charge of the rape of Mayella Ewell. This is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Now, the state has not produced one iota of medical evidence to the effect of the crime that Tom Robinson is charged with has ever taken place. It has instead relied upon the testimony of two witnesses whose evidence has not only been called into serious consideration upon cross-examination, but has been flatly contradicted by the defendant. The defendant is not guilty, but someone in this courtroom is. I have nothing but pity in my heart for the chief witness of the state, but my pity does not extend so far as to her putting another man's life at stake, which she has done in an effort to get rid of her own guilt. I say guilt, gentlemen, because it was guilt that motivated her. She had committed no crime. No, she had merely broken a rigid and time-honored code of our society, a code so severe that whoever breaks it is hounded from our midst as unfit to live with. She is the victim of cruel poverty and ignorance, but I cannot pity her. No, sir. She is white. She knew full well the enormity of her offense, but because her passion was greater than the code she was breaking, she persisted in breaking it. She persisted as a subsequent reaction in something that we have all known at one time or another. Yet she did something that every child has done. She tried to put the evidence of her offense away from her. But in this case, she was no child hiding stolen contraband. No, she struck out at her victim. She must destroy the evidence of her offense. She must put the evidence of her offense away from her. The evidence of her offense must be removed from this presence, from her world. She must destroy the evidence of her offense. What was the evidence of her offense? Tom Robinson, a human being. Tom Robinson was her daily reminder of what she did. What did she do, gentlemen? She tempted a black man. She was white, and she tempted a black man. She did something in our society that we see as unspeakable. She kissed a black man, not an old uncle, but a young, strong black man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it came crashing down upon her afterwards. And her father saw it. Yes, he did. And the defendant has testified to his remarks, but if I may ask, what did Mr. Yule do? We don't know. But there is strong, circumstantial evidence that indicates that Mayella Ewell was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left. We do know in part what Mr. Yule did. He did what any God-fearing, persevering, respectable white man would do. He swore out a warrant, no doubt signing it with his left hand. And here Tom Robinson stands before you today, having taken the oath with the only good hand he possesses, his right hand. And now, a quiet, young, respectable black man must put his word against two white peoples. I need not remind you of the conduct on the stand. You saw that for yourselves. The witnesses for the state, with the notable exception of the sheriff of Macomb County, have presented themselves to you, gentlemen, to this court in the cynical confidence that their testimony would not be doubted. That you would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption that all black men lie, that all black men are basically immoral, that all black men are not to be trusted around our women, an assumption one associates with the minds of the coward. But gentlemen, we know this is in itself a lie, as black as Tom Robinson's skin, because we know the truth. And the truth is this: some men lie. Some men are immoral. Some men are not to be trusted around women and children, black or white. Before I rest, I would like to bring up one more thing. Thomas Jefferson once said that all men are created equal. Now, this is a phrase that the Yankees and the distaff side of the executive likes to hurl at us. And there was a tendency for people in our year of grace, 1935, to use this phrase out of context to satisfy all conditions. We know all men are not created equal in the same sense some would have us believe. Some men are smarter than others. Some men make more money than others. Some men are born with natural gifts beyond the known scope of most men. And now most men have more opportunity because of the color of their skin. But gentlemen, there's one way in this country in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes the pauper the equal of a Rockefeller, makes the stupid man the equal of an Einstein, and makes the ignorant man the equal of any college president. And that institution, gentlemen, is a court. Whether it be the Supreme Court of the United States or the humblest JP court in this land, or the honorable court in which you serve today, gentlemen, in our country, our courts are the great levelers. In our courts, all men are created equal. No, I'm no idealist to believe firmly in the integrity of our court system. That's no ideal to me. That is a living, breathing reality. Gentlemen, this court is as strong as each man sitting before me today. A court is only as sound as its jury, and a jury is only as sound as the man who make it up. Now, I'm confident that you will review the evidence presented before you today without passion, that you will come to a decision and you will release this defendant to his family in the name of God. Do your duty.